I used to do all that without even stretching, not even once. Yes, even being a college athlete, I barely stretched anything but my arm. I thought, you know what, all I need is my arm for pitching, and that is about it. And after my career, you know, I still didn't stretch, not even once. I was hiking, doing all these crazy things, never once stretched, never took care of my body, and well, it all finally caught up to me. 1 year ago on this exact date, ironically on my birthday, I lifted something improperly and felt something instantly in my back and leg. Herniated disc. Now this is what a typical morning looks like to me. No matter what time I have to go to work or basically do anything, I always have to make sure to get up early enough to at least stretch before I go. Now this is essentially isn't a bad thing at all, as it is very healthy for you to have this routine, as I recommend it to anyone, herniated disc or not, honestly. There's a bunch of articles out there actually telling you that stretching has all of these health benefits if you do it regularly and properly, of course. So definitely take it from someone who never did it growing up or even when I was fully healthy. Try stretching at least once a day. It might only take 30 minutes out of your day, but it could be really important to your health. Now, please, I just want to, before we get into this full video, I am not a medical professional. I am just speaking from my experience, and every single herniated disc is actually different. So please, if you see anything that I do in this video, please take it up with your physical therapist, because there's some people that have told me to do one thing and my physical therapist was like, and for your injury, I don't really recommend it. So I just wanted to point that out before we get into today's full video. But now for my injury specifically, it is to stretch, do ab workouts, and if I choose to, go to the gym, depending on how busy and stuff like that. Lately, I haven't really been going to the gym, sadly. But now also, ab workouts specifically for me is to work on my core muscles to provide support for my spine and supporting that herniated disc while stabilizing the back. That is the most important thing for my injury specifically, and honestly, probably for most herniated discs. But again, not a medical professional. But I really recommend, again, just doing ab workouts, even with no injury, to provide that support for your back, your core muscles, and everything like that. I do inner core muscles workouts specifically. I sadly, and at the moment, cannot do anything like related to like twisting or like Russian twists or anything like that, because, well, as you know, a herniated disc, I actually surprisingly can't twist. But yeah, because of my back. So I'm limited to about 5 inner core ab workout exercises, which are planks, side planks on both sides, and then the Supermans, which I actually had to stop for a little bit because my back was actually starting to hurt from that specific exercise. So it really depends on the body, and just listen to your body overall, which is still going to give me that strength and support that I still need, even with those 5 exercises that I think is still really important for healthy or anything related. I still think you should do, you know, inner core exercises as much as possible, including your stretches. That's what I do. So we'll always start off with the negatives. What are some things that I have lost the ability to do and that I will definitely take for granted in the future if I ever get back to what I'm supposed to do? Now, you know, first off, I want to start saying I am a huge hypochondriac. And if you don't really know what that means, it means basically you have huge anxiety about anything medical. And this whole past year of the first initial injury, of the numbness in the leg and the back hurting, my mind was racing. And then the recovery process was just 100 times worse when it comes to that. I was freaking out. My main things were hiking, sitting for long periods of time, because obviously I like to do a lot of car road trips, which I'm actually going in June here. I'm hoping that everything will be okay for that long road trip and everything like that. But overall, those were my biggest concerns, and those were things that I was just thinking about nonstop, that I couldn't stop thinking about, and it messed with my mind for the longest time. So yeah, I had huge anxiety about that stuff. Now, you know, I do want to just start off saying I was super lucky that, you know, these negatives are just, you know, way different from other people. I have a 3mm herniated disc at the L5-S1, and that is to some medical professionals not even considered a herniated disc. So as soon as I got hurt, I was still able to walk. I was still able to basically feel everything except my leg, which was very numb, and my back was hurting, and that's about it. That back was only hurting for about 2 months or so, but my leg is still numb. That's something that I heard that will be a good long amount of time. So I just want to start off by saying that, you know, I was very lucky, and I have to be very thankful. I've heard a lot of stories out there regarding, you know, people not even be able to get up. They were in bedridden for months and stuff like that. So I am a very lucky person. This is just my case overall, and I wanted to share this story because, one, I'm a hypochondriac, and two, I just like storytelling. I'm really working on it, and this is my first video. So this is something that it's my experience, and I'm a hypochondriac, and I don't want to mess anything up. So that's basically what I'm kind of saying when it comes to, you know, it's a 3mm herniated L5-S1. Some people don't even call it a herniated, but I still do, because as a hypochondriac, I don't want to mess anything up as possible. So anyway, one of the worst things that I think that I am starting to experience as I get back to normal life is not being able to lift anything heavy. Boxes, couches, not that I plan on lifting any couches anytime soon, but it's something that I definitely took for granted that I no longer can do without my back even hurting. Fun fact, I haven't even tried it because that's how scared I am that I am going to do it. I recently just bought a brand new PC because my old one broke. This weighs about 50 pounds. Normally, I could easily be able to lift it, take it up the stairs, take it wherever I needed to go. With this herniated disc, I actually needed my girlfriend to help me carry it half and half. And it's the same with boxes, couches. If I were to ever move, it's just a really difficult time to, you know, lift something heavy. And if you do decide to lift anything heavy, please lift with proper form. That's how I even started in this situation. I lifted something improperly. I used basically my entire back rather than my legs and my arms. So if you do decide to lift something heavy, please use the proper form. Another thing that surprisingly isn't the biggest loss to me is to actually be able to bend down or twist to pick things up, essentially. So like, let's say like a cord fell on the ground, something light. I would normally just pick it up. Anybody would be able to bend down and just pick it up. But sadly, I have to take a longer process of actually getting on one knee and being able to pick up that object, even if it's like the smallest thing. Being able to not bend down is definitely something that I took for granted, but it's easily something that I have adjusted to. So this is one of the first things that I have easily adjusted to when coming to my injury. Now, actually, surprisingly, it's actually not very good for you to bend down to pick things up anyway. So a lot of these things that I am adjusting to are just things that actually aren't really good for you. And that's something that I did for the longest time. And again, if just don't bend down, honestly. Now, this is one thing that I am very upset about and the most nervous about my back. That's something that I talked about a little bit, the hiking and the car sitting. And that is something that I am very nervous about. Now, obviously I'm sitting as I'm recording this, where I do need a lumbar support for my back. But the thing is, the long car rides are something that I heard are very bad for your back. Even in general, I mean, I know long car rides are bad for you anyway, but again, for me, it could actually upset my back even more, maybe even affecting the entire trip. So it's something I'm definitely nervous about. Now, sofas, you see that giant sofa back there? That's a no-no, okay? I don't actually sit on that sofa anymore. Even to eat, if I was eating at like the sofa to watch TV, I actually don't even eat on the sofa anymore. I have to sit in my chair because the way that like the couch sinks in and your back rounds, big no for me. Now I'm still holding things up. Like I still have the longest that I have actually sit in this chair for is 3 hours. The problem is I haven't really had too much time to test driving. I live in New York City. I don't drive, and I haven't been to a national park since the injury. So that's something that I'm really nervous about. And you guys know I love to go on long road trips, and I'm super nervous that my back might not be able to handle that. Carrying ibuprofen, all that stuff. Now, luckily, I do get to test it with an upcoming trip that I have planned for June 1st. We're going to Shenandoah National Park. That'll be a future video for sure. But I am extremely nervous about the sitting portion and also my backpack. I did just buy a brand new Osprey backpack that has very good support, hip belts that I think really will help out for sure. But again, it's the whole sitting, the whole carrying stuff on your back. Luckily, I'm not backpacking this trip, but that's another thing that I'm really worried about as well. It's just so many things as a, you know, I think so far in the future that I'm so nervous about this that I just hope everything goes well. This is going to be the first trip since my herniated disc where I'm driving more than a certain amount of hours. I'm going to be driving about 5 hours. And that's going to be the longest that I'm sitting. I'm planning on getting out every 2 hours. It's a little bit of a burden, but as long as I can do it, I really don't see an issue. It's just something that I'm, again, going to have to adjust to, and something that you were actually supposed to do even before you were, you know, traveling and stuff like that. You were supposed to do it and get out every 2 hours anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now, again, hiking, you need a backpack, and that's another big concern that I have is the weight. Like I said, I did get an Osprey backpack with a nice little hip belt. It's definitely something interesting, but I'm, again, very nervous. Hip belts definitely go mostly on the weights or on the hips, but it's something that it's gonna have to just tell with time, I guess. So yeah, definitely a lot of concerns that I do have. I mean, at 26 years old, as of today, my back will never be the same again. And I just cannot state enough, and this will be in the positives as well, how lucky I was that it wasn't worse. Like I said, I've read stories on Reddit, stories everywhere, people not being able to actually get up and do the things that they want to do because they were so bedridden. The only injury that I had, the only thing that I felt was a heavy leg and a back problems for about 2 months when it comes to like back soreness and stuff like that. But the back was hurting for two months and 3 months, and then everything else was just the leg. And I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, but mentally, as a hypochondriac, it's always still going to be there. I mean, like I said, my lower back will never be the same again. And I grew up for 25 years not worrying about a single thing. Again, probably why it happened. But I would play sports with ease. I would play or go hiking with ease, not even thinking about it. And now it's like, I gotta stretch. I gotta do all this stuff. And I guess that's just called growing up, but you know, I played sports. I have a little brother who plays football, and knowing that I possibly can't play like tackle football with him again because my physical therapist said I can play baseball again. I just can't hit or pitch because of the movements, but I can play the field and stuff like that, which is nice, but it's still just knowing that I can't do something anymore definitely hurts me. I saw a Reddit post. I actually will provide the screenshot, but I did see a Reddit post. It was something along the lines of like, you know, I thought I was invincible. I really did. And then this happened and I was like, I'm human. And like I said, I guess that's just growing up. And my next biggest concern that I'm very thankful that I'm actually going to be able to determine is this hiking trip, because one of the things that I moved on from sports is the hiking. I discovered it in Vegas, and I did it every single day. I'd gone on all these crazy trips and I loved it. And those are the things that I just want to be able to do. Hiking and long car road trips. If I can do those two, I will be pretty happy. But I'm very excited that I'm able to test it out very shortly. So something that's been bugging me for almost a year now, actually a year to this date, obviously, but just still crazy. And yeah, obviously all of these changes aren't going to happen overnight. They're going to take a while for me, especially as a hypochondriac, but we got to continue to get mentally and physically stronger every day. All right, so let's talk about the positives. I've kind of covered them throughout this entire video, but there are some positives that I can actually take away from this herniated disc. And like I said, I've been talking about the negatives for quite some time now, and I've also mentioned some of the positive, which I'm very thankful that it wasn't worse. Like I said, some people in the medical world doesn't even call this 3mm herniated disc an actual herniated disc. They call it a bulging disc, which I've done a lot of research and I still can't figure out the difference, to be honest with you. I feel like I get so many different examples, but like I think it's a big difference, but like some medical professionals don't even call it a herniated disc. They call it a bulging disc. My doctor did call it a herniated disc, but maybe if I went somewhere else, it could have been a bulging or something like that. So it's just definitely something that I have to be very thankful for. Like I said, I've read a bunch of Reddit posts, article after article about people not even be able to work. And right after the injury, I actually didn't go to the hospital for 5 days. One, because I wanted to prove everyone that I wasn't freaking out over something minor. I stopped feeling my leg after like 4 days, but I wanted to prove everybody, and don't do that. If you're a hypochondriac and you feel something, just do it. It's worth getting checked out. Just please, because when I went to the hospital, they were like, yep, herniated disc. And I was like, huh? So I knew I was right. I felt the numbness in the leg, the heaviness, and I did go to work for 5 days. And I also lifted my gaming chair, the one that I'm sitting on. I just ordered a brand new chair. It ordered that day or that night, and I picked it up and I carried it upstairs by myself. There's just so many things that I did wrong, but yeah, it's just something that I'm very thankful for when it comes to being able to have still 99% of my life right after the injury. And still to this day, I still have a good portion of my life. I gotta stop thinking about the future so much when I get older, because I heard that's really, really bad. But yeah, another positive is that I'm gonna be able to test this backpacking trip, or this week's camping trip. I'm gonna be able to see how I sit in a car for multiple hours, how my back feels after hiking. If it hurts, I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna have to need a new mental strength, because that's gonna really hurt me. Because like I said earlier, those are the two main things that I love to do. And if I lose those, I'm not gonna lose those, but if I'm limited to that, it's definitely gonna hurt. But we just gotta keep pushing for sure. And the fact that I can still sit for multiple hours as well, even in my chair as I'm working here and stuff like that, I'm very, very thankful for that. So there's just so many things that I'm thankful for. And one of the biggest positives that I see in this actual herniated disc is that I learned to take care of myself. I'm not even kidding when I say that. Like, I really did learn how to actually take care of myself. Like I said, before I thought I was invincible. I think any young person does, but like, no one, I mean, there are a lot of herniated disc people out there, but like, you know, you think you're invincible. You don't think anything's wrong. And then one thing changes overnight and you're thinking about, I got to stretch in the morning. I got to roll out. I got to do abs. It's just all these things flood your brain at once. And now you're like, oh boy, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do this, or I can't do that. I can't do that. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that I'm able to actually start taking care of my body. And if you were going to learn one thing from this video, and I promise you, take this advice, take care of yourself, stretch. You don't have to necessarily go to the gym. It's not all about being the strongest. You don't have to lift 90-pound dumbbell curls or anything like that. You just have to stretch, eat healthy, and just stay active. That's the one thing that I really think you should actually take away from this video, is just treat yourself right, stretch, eat right, and stay active. And welcome to growing up, I guess. 26-year-old, happy birthday to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is my first storytelling video. I hope it went well. I hope to get a little bit better in the future for sure.